All this is just a bunch of fear-based BS. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Universal Crystals. I got a message for you today, and it's for a specific group of people, all of the light workers out there on the planet. And obviously, this is just a label, but anybody has the potential to be a light worker. But I'm really directing this at people who are awakened or are awakening right now and are, trying to spread their light to the planet. And it's difficult for a lot of us because we see through the lies and we see that the biggest hoax possibly in history is taking place right now. Before our very eyes, we are participating in the biggest bunch of lies, and what really surprises me is how they've convinced so many people that certain things, certain acts of just blind obedience are actually kindness. You're being kind for being blindly obedient. You're a good person because you don't question anything. Oh my goodness, I can't even get into that. And there's certain words I can't use on here. But all I've got to say is we see all this, and we talked about, how there's going to be a mass global awakening. For years, people have been talking about that. And then there was the Great Awakening that was supposed to happen. And that Great Awakening that I've talked about in many videos that people were saying has begun. It's here. Can you not tell? The Great Awakening is here, and it's in full force, and maybe this is still only the beginning, because who knows what's actually going to end up happening. But the external world can never replace your internal world, and it should never completely, dim your light, because as much as you want to convince all these people, the best thing you can do is just focus on your own journey. Focus on trying to be the change that you want to see in the world. You don't have to change everybody else. Be the change that you want to see. Be the person that you wish other people were for you. Be that person. That's why I'm doing these videos. I'm trying to be the change that I want to see in the world. And I want people to be less judgmental, care less about what beliefs you have, or a lot of the control that is breaking down right now. That's the reason all this stuff has to happen, is because all these systems and all this programming that's been going on, it has to break down, and it's going to be chaotic. But the good part about that is it's awakening a lot of other people, and at the same time, you can't just go along with what everybody else says, though. You've got to stand your ground, because if we just keep submitting and just keep allowing them to do things over and over and over again, they're just testing us. That's all they're doing. They're testing us to see what will they accept this time. What can we convince them is an act of kindness this time? What can we convince them is a good thing? When really, if you really take a step back and think about some of the things that are going on, how ridiculous is this? I mean, actually, how ridiculous is it that they've made so many people buy into these narratives? It's all agendas. It's all BS, man. And I'm just here to remind you that that's probably going to keep happening, but it doesn't have to affect you if you're living in your own reality. People will say about kind of people like me, or people who are just a little bit different, they'll say he's living in his own world. But what they don't realize is they are also living in their own world. And a lot of people's world that they're creating, because they're creating their reality, they're constantly feeding into certain things and watching the news and constantly getting notifications for tragic events and worrying about all the events that are going on right now. So they're living in that world. But then you've got certain people who don't even use their phone, who are just out in the woods somewhere probably, And they're living in a completely different world because they're not connected to all this, you know. You get a feeling every time you see certain things, and a lot of people are addicted to the feeling of fear. And it's all fear-based agendas that are being pushed, and that's all that has been pushed here. You came here as a light worker, if you want to call yourself that, and you came here for a reason. You came here at this time for a reason. This is possibly the biggest hoax in history, but it's also the biggest time for awakening in history, and quite a pivotal time in our history overall. And many people just don't know about it. You know, you'll have to look back in time, but this is where the world starts to change. This is where the 5D consciousness starts to come in to, you know, to more people. This is when the new earth is built. The new earth is here right now. Time is only an illusion. But this is really, you know, in terms of linear time, this is where all of the BS is going to fall down, and it's going to be a storm. It's going to be a storm, and we're in the eye of the storm. Maybe we're not even there yet, but we're in the storm. And when that storm passes, the new earth will be here. And you know, the new earth is here. As I've said many times, my most popular video was actually about that. But you can only access 5D consciousness within yourself. But as more people begin to do that and the planet's vibration raises as a result, you know, you're going to rub off on the others. The lies are just going to get too big for anyone to believe anymore. And people are going to start questioning things. And when they start questioning things, they will find the answer, because the truth will not be hidden any longer. There is no way that they will be able to hide it anymore, and that's why they're doing all of this. If they had nothing to hide, why would they be doing the things they're doing? You know, censoring people, taking things down. If they had nothing to hide, why would they do that? If they really had nothing to hide, they would have no reason to. But they don't hide certain things, only things that don't fit their agenda. Isn't that interesting? But, you know, it's all part of the plan. It's all part of this great awakening that we signed up for on a soul level. And we knew we're coming here, and, you know, it's going to be chaotic. But I'm going to have the craziest awakening experience of my life, and I'm going to learn how to be myself in a world that is constantly trying to make me something else. And you're remembering who you really are and getting rid of all these layers on top of that this earth matrix puts on you. So much programming has been done to you. From an early age, you know, there was a certain time in my life when I was very young, when I was first in elementary school. For the first few years, I felt like I had the most confidence of my life. You know, I just felt great about myself. And then, you know, life hits you, and you have all these things happen that stick with you as memories, and, you know, it builds up kind of, you know, a bunch of hits on your self-esteem, possibly. And over time, I got less and less and less and less and less confident in myself. Because, you know, teachers would, you know, you're talking in class, oh, be quiet. So I always went around trying to be the most obedient kid, you know, trying to follow the rules early in my school years. And, you know, I was already quiet, so it wasn't too hard, but I'd still talk to people. You know, I'm a Gemini, so I got two sides to me, if that really matters, just what you believe in. But basically what I'm saying is, over time, I've stopped wanting to obey the rules. And, you know, in high school, I got to the point where I was really disobedient. I wasn't like mean to the teachers or anything. I just hated school and would leave and things like that. And then college, it just got even worse. And I'm like, I'm really tired of being obedient. My whole life, I've just been scared of what the teacher's going to say, what's if someone's going to get mad at me because I do this. And it built up this program And I believed this whole time that I was my mind. And it wasn't until I had so much suffering, so many times of just bottling everything in and just trying to be somebody that I never wanted to be. I didn't know who I was. This was just things that I did to, mask who I really am. And now I realize all that suffering broke me down to the point where I was like, I've got to get out of my mind. And then I realized I'm not my mind. And it's liberating. You are a 3-part being, but the mind is not the only part of that. You also have the body, and you have the spirit or soul. And what you really are, the thing that will live on forever, is the third aspect, the soul or the spirit. But the majority of people believe that they are their mind. And obviously they know they have a body and everything like that. But you really have a body, you have a mind, you are a soul. But a lot of people think they have a soul and they are their mind. You see? And if you're thinking, well, what is this guy talking about? What does he mean? I'm not my mind. What even is the mind? What is this mind you speak of? That's exactly what I'm talking about. If you're questioning the things that I'm saying right now, if you're in your head going, having opinions about the words that I'm speaking, if you hate what I'm saying right now, that is your mind. That's your mind having those thoughts. And what you are is the thing observing the thoughts about what I'm saying right now. Embrace the journey. Realize that this is all part of the Great Awakening that we've been so excited about. But then it gets here. It's like a lot of things in life. You think it's going to be the greatest thing ever. Then it gets here and you're like, I don't really like this. I don't want to do this anymore. Well, sorry, life goes on. Hope you're having an amazing day. To all the light workers out there, I know how lonely it feels. I know how lonely it can get when you feel like you're the only one who sees through all of this. And you want to help other people, you want to be there for them. But everybody has their own time. Everybody has their own time. And things are always happening at the exact right time. So don't try and force it. Let life flow. And trust in the thing that put you here without you even knowing. I love you all. Peace out.